Yo, my heroes on the other hand podcast. I have a special guest, Niele Ivey. He's the head coach of Notre Dame, and not only is she the head coach, but she won a championship as the point guard, which is the quarterback of the team. And I can relate because I played quarterback there, but she was on another level, national championship point guard. Not only that, she comes back and assists and wins another national championship. And not only that, comes back as the head coach to get the trifecta, the hat trick. And on top of that, everything she touches is gold. Let's run through the real quick, the resume, the point guards. You got K-Mac, you got Jewel, you got Sky. You literally brought rappers. People don't understand. You have brought rappers, famous rappers like Lil Wayne, to a small school in South Bend, Indiana. The impact you've had is incredible. And not only that, you're doing it as a wonderful Black mom, having a son that is following the same footsteps as you. And I don't even know where to start. I just want to say thank you for even giving me the time of day, because I know it's very precious.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. It was a great intro. I am humbled by your intro because I think you are amazing. So I appreciate taking the time. You know, you're somebody I've always loved, and I've always followed your career. You're just a phenomenal man. So I'm just happy to be on.
Oh man, and it's only getting better, and I appreciate you showing love. I just want to start from the beginning, because
Okay.
at this point you are at, and I don't even know if this is the peak, because every time we turn around, you're hitting the headlines with something new. You're right now the head coach of Notre Dame, but I want to start from the player, Niele Ivey, the player at Notre Dame. What even made you want to go to a prestigious place like that?
Well, I fell in love with Coach McGraw and her staff initially. Being from St. Louis, I was raised in going to Catholic schools, and education was really important to me, important to my family, especially my mother. She instilled that in me at a very young age about, the importance of academics and importance of a, great education. So Notre Dame checked both boxes for me, and I just fell in love with the staff, and I just felt like it was a place where it felt like home. And then I felt like it was a place where academically I would be challenged, but also I felt like I could make an impact, on the floor. So that was really the reason why I chose, Notre Dame.
Now, for me, I chose it because it was like I was around the same background. Going to a Catholic school, you're around all types of people that are, higher prestigious in the sense, come from real good backgrounds. But to me, it was doing more at Notre Dame. It was like Notre Dame was the peak, because that's what guys and people that were privileged in a sense, that's what they wanted to go to. And for me, that was a school I was like, okay, Ohio State was great, but I know that Ohio State wasn't hitting the peak like Notre Dame was hitting the peak to other people.
Right.
So
Of course you
talking
would
about
think of it that way. Of course you think of it that way.
hey,
There's no
you
other way
gotta
for you to think of that. Like, that's who you are. That is your personality. I'm not surprised one bit about that at all.
you you can never sacrifice that what it means. It's always the bigger picture, and you got that. But what did you get from Notre Dame for you that was like, okay, I'm in a different setting. This is not what I'm particularly used to.
Yeah, I mean the campus, like I went to a very predominantly white high school. It was two black two black students at that school, all girls, myself and the other student. So I'm saying like so when I came to campus, it was something I was familiar with, to be honest. But I was from an all black neighborhood. I learned how to adjust to, I'm saying, like, to adjust in different environments. And so Notre Dame was something that I was used to. So, so I guess the biggest part was just being away from my family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was I had 4 older brothers, only the baby girl. I never really left. I was very sheltered, very sheltered in St. Louis. So, I mean, for me, just kind of the world opened up a little bit, but, I was kind of used to the environment of Notre Dame.
Now, did you feel any pressure? Because just like you said, you go to a school that's not what you grew up around. And now it's like, you got people that you go to school with that look at you in a certain light. People that you live around look at you in a certain light now that you're doing different. Did it ever add any pressure to you of, I have to make it, or was it more of I'm getting an opportunity to do something new and let me embrace the situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think I put expectations. I wanted to, especially for my family. I was the first to go to college, so there was an expectation for my mom, at least. I just wanted to make them proud, basically. Not in like a heavy way, but like pressure way. But just I wanted to do well to make them proud because I knew how big it was to attend Notre Dame and to be the first to go to college. So that was something I took a lot of pride into. And so that's one of my drives, I think, motivation for me. But yeah, but on campus, I did feel a little bit of pressure. Just, and I put the pressure on myself. Not that any outside influence did. I always just put pressure on myself because I wanted to, I wanted to come in. I wanted to play right away. I wanted to make an impact on the court. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to do so much. I wanted to learn. I wanted to, to grow, and I wanted to help the team. So I put more pressure on myself. But I tore my ACL my freshman year, so I only played 5 games. So I had to sit. So I saw it from a different perspective because that was something I never been through. I maybe sprained an ankle one time my whole, athletic career in any sport. So when I get to Notre Dame, I tear my ACL. So, you know, I had to sit and watch. And I think I grew a lot by having the sport taken away.
Absolutely. I think you're defined as an athlete once you get hurt and that bounce back. You it's a different level of I guess self-confidence that you have to gain in that moment because Notre Dame's a different place. Not only is the school tough, but it's an expectation that's kind of in the air.
Right. I mean, that's true too, because I mean, the whole principle of Notre Dame is tradition and excellence. So you're sitting in classes with, people, the brightest of the bright, the brightest of the brightest. You know what I'm saying? Like student wise. So it's always a challenge. I felt it was a challenge everywhere. On the court, on the team. This first time not being probably the best player on the team. Everybody from freshman or coming in as freshman feel that way. So you're always surrounded by greatness. You're always surrounded by the best. The football team, like everybody's good on campus. Everybody's great on campus. So you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like you're just along with the rest of everybody else. So you try to find a way to stand out at some point. And then when you take, for us, having our, getting injured and not being able to perform and, and show our greatness on the, for you, the gridiron, and for me on the court is like, that was tough. It's hard. It was hard to go through. But again, like you said, like sometimes adversity is what makes you stronger. And I know that I'm the person I am today because of everything I've been through.
And it seems like you've been nothing but success, on the outside looking in. I mean, not only have you went to a prestigious university with a bunch of pressure in the sense of outside looking in, like, oh, you're doing something that nobody's really used to in our community, but on top of that, you're a champion. Now, that route for you, did you know that you were going to win a championship at Notre Dame, or was it something that it kind of developed over time?
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge goal of mine. And when I tore my ACL my freshman year, I got that year back. And then I tore my ACL my junior year. So I tore both my knees. And then, so my fifth year, my redshirt year, the championship, the whole city was St. Louis. And so as a senior, I'm coming in that year, like, man, I just went through both knees, I just came back from 2 knee surgeries. Like, this is it for me. Like, and then to know that the goal is winning national championship was in my hometown, it was a whole different level of grind for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that was, I was like, I really truly believed it. I was like, no, I was so locked in, so narrow focused of what my intention, my goal was for this team and for myself. I was like, I got to get us there. You know what I mean? Like this is this is my last shot. You know what I'm saying? I've been through so much. I want to, I don't want to leave and not feel like I accomplished my goal from day one. So I did truly believe. And then, that year was the first year that we finally had beat UConn. I think it was January 15th.
Yeah.
First sellout at home. We beat number 1 team in the country. We're number 1 for the rest of the season. And then, we have a great run and get to the Final Four in St. Louis, and then we win, So my last game, my senior year, it was in the hometown winning national championship in front of all my family, all my friends, my high school, like it was, I couldn't even make that up. Like I was like, this is like the way to go out. Like it was such a blessing. But for me, I always felt like God does things happen for a reason. And with all the adversity that I went through in Notre Dame. So I was like, it must have been for a reason. And it was an opportunity for me to come home and bring our first championship back to bring our first championship to Notre Dame, not even the back of Notre Dame, like, you know, to be a part of a legendary team. So it was amazing.
It is amazing the way you do things. I do want to point out. I mean, you're a champion that brings a championship home to a prestigious university, and to be able to do that, but still fly under the radar, quote unquote, and take me through what it's like to be Niele Ivey when you have so much success around you, yet you remain who you are, and it's like the slow progress. People aren't really used to that slow progress that you've had to achieve such success.
Well, I mean, I'm very grounded. I think my family has done that for me. My mom, my brothers, like I said, like I keep my circle small. You know, I have a lot of sisters and a lot of, you know, friends in that within that circle that keeps me humble and keeps me grounded. But, you know, I never try to take anything too seriously or take things for granted, because things have happened to me that, you know, I think I took for granted. And so I think that kind of and I think that's just who I am. I don't know. I'm never too high or too low. Again, I keep my family really close, and I'm just always, you know, keeping God first. That's first and foremost. And my faith has been strengthened, I think, from just my path of getting to where I am right now. I've relied on my relationship and spiritual relationship with the Lord, and that's something that has carried me to this point.
I mean, it sounds like the Lord's been putting you in the right place.
Lord has been good to me. I can say that.
Everywhere you go, like, how does it work for you where it's like, okay, I go from, you had a great career in the WNBA, you faced some difficulties, but you turned around and was like, okay, I want to do coaching. Now, how do you go from being the competitive player you are, being a champion, literally being a champion, to turning to say, now I want to get back and do coaching?
Well, I had another surgery, and so that third surgery, and I had that when I was in WNBA. I was like, okay, I gotta switch paths. You know, I gotta start thinking something differently. I wanted to stay around the game in some form or fashion, so I was like, one of my former coaches from Notre Dame, and they were like, why don't you get into coaching? Come, you know, he'd just taken the position at the head coach position at Xavier, so he brought me on as kind of like an intern, made up a position for me. So I'm like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna see, I'm gonna do my rehab, get into this, you know, be an intern, and then, you know, decide what I want to do. And so, you know, it's hard transitioning from being an athlete. So only thing I was used to was just ball, you know, obviously school and ball. So and playing professionally. So I was like, okay, you know, so I took that path and went to Xavier as an intern, and then I just fell in love with coaching. Like I was like, and I wasn't a coach at the time. Like honestly, like I was an intern, so I was not a full salary assistant coach. I was just, you know, basically doing all the things that the coaches needed. So I saw a lot of behind the scenes, you know, things. And so I just fell in love with building relationships with the teams, with the girls. And Coach McGraw gave me a call after like a year and a half, and she was like, I got a position open. I want to interview at back at Notre Dame. And I was like, you know, I was like, there's my sign, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I was like, I feel like this is something that I could do. And so when she called me, I was so excited. I was like, that had my opportunity to coach, you know, back in my alma mater. I was like, there's no bigger blessing than that. Cause, you know, in this profession, it's hard to get in. It's hard, especially if you have no experience. And so I tell a lot of people that I mentor, is like, you just have to get the opportunity. And Coach McGraw gave me that opportunity. So I will always be grateful for her for that. And then I just continue to grow and just have been blessed along the way. But it was the opportunity first that allowed me to have that door open for me.
And diving into it though, I mean, you took off running. You go into a situation it's not like it's a community college or a 1AA. You're going in high pressure stakes once again. It's like you don't shy away from the moment, and you step in and you're dealing with a great point guard in herself with Skylar Diggins. Was that your first like point guard that you were under, or how did it work for you getting into the system?
Yeah, so when I got the job, Coach McGraw was like, all right, your first task is you have to get Skylar Diggins. So I'm like, okay, let me figure out. And I'm like, okay, you know, but I'm like, no, I got to figure out who is Skylar Diggins, you know what I'm saying? So I did my research. And so that was my task. And she was just like, go get her. So I was like, that's all I focused on was recruiting her, you know, and obviously learning everything about the whole job, the whole profession and all that stuff. And recruiting was something that was comfortable for me. So that really was she was my first big recruit. So everything that I learned with her is kind of like how I continue as a recruiting coordinator and as a recruiter with the things that worked with her, or the things that I felt like a really good authentic connection with her. Like that's how I kind of grew as an assistant and as a recruiter. But she was my first huge recruit and ended up changing the program, changing the landscape of women's basketball. Like I would have never known like how big that was until she stepped on campus. And like I always felt, I knew she was special though. Like people that just have that it factor. So I knew that from the moment I spoke to her, the moment I met her in person, and the first time I watched her play. I just had a bunch of films. I was just watching a bunch of film before, so I could have conversations with her about, what I thought of her. And then when I first saw her, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get her. I was like, I felt like my job depended on it. I'm like, Coach, she gonna let me go if I don't get Skylar. I'm like, yo, if you don't come, I'm not gonna be at South Bend too long. So, but no, she was amazing. Obviously, what she's done for the game and who she is as a person, and is just, phenomenal. Just Sky, just in general. But yeah, she was my first huge get.
Who have literally changed and was a part of changing the landscape and the attention brought to college women's basketball. And the way you did it was so stylish. And whatever this pattern you carried, I just want to know about the success that you carried, not only for Sky, but how it translated and how you handled that success once you had Sky and all the people that you had after that. I mean, the list goes on and on.
I mean, I just have great mentors. I think Coach McGraw is one of my biggest mentors. I have, Carol Owens that's on staff right now, Coquise Washington, who I just hired. She was the head coach at Penn State when I got into coaching, and she was my position coach when I was a player. I surround myself with really great people. Frances Shavers, and so many. I list a list of women, strong women that I look up to, but also just my mentors in general. Kevin McGuff. I just surround myself with great people, and so I think you're a reflection of people you're around, and I think that's the reason why I've stayed humble, because I'm around great leaders. I'm around great people that have made positive impacts and have made a positive impact in my life, and that's how I live. By the people that I'm around and the things that are important to me. So I think that's how I handle success. I've watched Coach McGraw handle success. Like we'll walk, she's a rock star. And so I used to always watch her everywhere we went, people were like, just Coach McGraw, like this, what I mean? Like, and I always sat back and watched that. Like she always spoke. And I felt like she was always humble and always approachable. People felt like they could talk to her. And I never thought that her success went to her head. And I feel like I'm going to be a reflection of that, because there's no reason for success to go anyone's head, but it's definitely not going to go into mine. So it's who I'm around and what I've absorbed just being around great people.
What was that like, going from player to now you're coaching greats like Enrique, who you had from beginning to literally the shot that heard around the world, and being a part of that and winning a championship and being the assistant coach that was the hand in developing all of that? What was that transition like for you?
It was incredible. I always felt like coming back to Notre Dame, I wanted to show the girls what I did and wanted them to experience what I experienced as a student athlete at Notre Dame and as a national champion. That's all I talked about. I'm like, well, when we played, I used to give them all those stories. They probably, I know they could stand me probably, because I just kept talking about it. And so I just had all the energy and passion because I wanted them to experience what I experienced. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think as a player I realized the magnitude of the moment of winning. I was just like, wow, we won. It was so hard, but we won. And then now, 20 years later, it's like, we were the first one to have a banner. You know what I mean? Like it means so much. You turn into a legend, and I didn't realize that at a young age. And so as an assistant coach, all you want to do is you want to bring in players and you want to make them better than you are. And I always wanted to bring in players and help them, mold them, but, allow them to grow and be the best versions of themselves. And so when it happened for the team, finally, we were there, like Sky, we had so much great talent, Deborah Peters, so many people, Kayla McBride, like you mentioned, Alia Chan, with so many people that helped us get to the Final Four, helped us get to the championship. We just could not finish it. We were at the, we just couldn't cross the finish line. So for the fact that they finally did that 2018, I was like, it was almost like an out of body experience, because I was like, finally, I was so happy for them. Like, it's like a mother that you're happy for your child to achieve their dream, or to do whatever that they wanted to do, and you watch them do it. That's how I felt.
But take me through that though. I mean,
oh,
to be honest, I thought the teams that I mean the way the teams how famous they were during the
right.
time they were going, I didn't expect that team particularly to get over the hump.
Yeah.
But what in that process? Because it
Right.
was like time after time, it was right
Yes.
there. What was that jump that got the shot that hurt around the world at that point to that? Because it was at one point, it was like, I mean, how many times we got to keep hitting our head against the wall, right?
I know. Well, that year was special just because we had 4 ACLs and we weren't the team. We were just trying to make it through practice half the time. Like we had so many injuries, so many so it was a rough year basically, and we were only playing like 5-6 people. So that wasn't the year that we thought. So there was no pressure on us. We had no expectations because we're like, look, we're down. Brianna Turner, she's out this year. We just want to, we didn't know how we were going to be. And so I think sometimes when the unexpected, not having so many expectations, I think that was what was shocking because we ended up winning the year that we didn't even think we were going to win. We were like, we were like, we just want to get through a game, and we were going game by game, And so when we started finding momentum, especially in the tournament, they always feel like they were going to win though. I mean, we had Enrique, we had Marina, it's two very confident women, Jess Shepard, like we had talent, but we just didn't know. And so when we got to the Final Four in Columbus, when like that last game, Enrique just, she just lights, camera, action. So she just, I feel like she just really exploded to the superstar that she is. Like that was her moment, against UConn when she hit the buzzer beater, and then against Mississippi State when she hit the buzzer beater. It was like it was something I've never. I mean, I may never be a part of something so magical. Like, to be honest, like I don't know. I mean, it was the most exciting Final Four ever, and it had to be one of the most exciting finishes in sports history.
Oh man, like,
you know what I mean?
What?
Like, so it was just, I don't know. It was just like, it was. I can't even explain how amazing it was. It was God. I mean, I don't know what else I could say besides Enrique just stepping into her own and just relishing the moment. Like she's a big shot type player, and she's always ready for the moment. She plays with so much swag, so much confidence, and I can't believe that she made those shots still. I'm like, that is incredible.
I remember watching on TV and was screaming at the TV.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just such a movie moment. It was a movie moment.
Yes, exactly. Never would have scripted that the entire season, but definitely not in that Final Four. So
now, what about it? Like now you get the track record. Now you got a track record. Every point guard that's come to you is either doing big things in basketball or in some aspect of life. But what is that relationship that you try to encourage or that you have with your point guard specifically? Because, I mean, like we talked about, you're General Electric. Like we pay the electric bill. We don't see the electric that turns on the lights, but when it turns on, we feel comfortable. And that's what you provide for your players. But what is it that you bring to these relationships that turn them into greatness like Enrique, Sky, Caleb McBride, the list goes on?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a little bit like trust is the biggest thing. I think, and I try to build confidence in them, let them know that how much I believe in them. But like you say, like relationships are everything. So I just pour into the students. I pour into our student athletes. I try to give them whatever they need because I know that that's what helped me succeed and that's what helped me as a player. So I try to be that for them. I've always tried to just pour into them, whatever that is. And then, I mean, that's outside of just, the work and the film and, the stuff that you coaches normally do. It's just more knowing that for them to know that I care. I think that's the biggest thing because when athletes know that you care, I feel like they'll run through a wall for you. And so I felt that my relationship, the way that I've connected with them, that's how they have been with me. And then again, that's a lot of faith and trust that you have to build from the ground up. It's through recruiting processes when they get there. You don't want to just recruit them in a way and then they get there and it's not the same. Like I can't be fake, to be honest. Like I'm a real genuine person.
Because you've been on the other side.
I've been on the other side. I know what's worked for me, and I know I've had coaches in the league that I just never connected with, and they never brought the best out of me. But and again, that's completely individual. Like you gotta bring confidence for yourself. But I know what I needed as a player, and I know what I received at Notre Dame. And so I just try to give that back.
Absolutely, and it's reflecting in everything that you do. It's literally amazing because everything you touch. Now, not only now, what I just want to dive into the decision because I
Okay.
thought you should have went on ESPN like LeBron when he decided to go to Miami about your decision to not take on the many and numerous head coaching jobs in women's basketball. Like I know I've talked to you about before, like, why don't you take the head coach here? Why don't you take the head coach here? But you took a chance to go to the NBA.
Yeah.
And not only to the NBA, to a team that's not so good, but in the year that you got there, of course, they turned into a team that you want to watch with John Morant. And it should have been the rookie of the year, if not the rookie of the year. And being a part of that, like, what's that decision like?
Well, when that opportunity, well, I guess to answer the question before, like the other opportunities in college, I just felt like it had to be right for me and for Jaden. You know, at the times that had opportunities in college, it just wasn't. I didn't feel like it was the right timing. You know, I think one time he was in 8th grade going to high school, and then one was he was like a junior, and I just didn't. It just didn't feel. It didn't feel the right time for him, and so a lot of my decisions is based off of family, and it's based off of what I think is going to be the best fit for both of us. And so some of those decisions were based off of him. And where we are at the time. And then when the NBA came, Jaden was deciding to go to a prep school, a boarding school. So it allowed me to be able to make that move. And so again, a lot of my decisions were based off of making sure that it was a good fit for him and it made sense for him. And so, and it's the NBA. So I was just like, you know, he was 100% supportive regardless. Even if he didn't go to prep school, he would have came down to Memphis with me and I would have found the right fit for him academically there. But the NBA, I was just like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. I could be a trailblazer and also learn so much. And so it was something I just couldn't pass on.
Now, I noticed so much that you learned from the NBA experience, but working with a guy like John Morant and having such a sensational rookie superstar, what was just one thing that you can really say you pulled from making that crossover from the NBA, from college women's basketball to the NBA that you really was like, okay, this is different, but I'm going to take it with me. I'm taking it with me to the bank.
Oh, so many things. I guess I'll start with culture because we were, like you said, it was a young team, brand new staff, a brand new head coach. He had never been a head coach in the NBA. So we did a lot of things of just building culture and setting the foundation. So I learned a lot from the head coach, you know, about just building a lot of different things with building culture. So I'm definitely bringing all that. But besides that, just, you know, basketball wise, just the player development, I learned a lot of different skills and workouts with player development, just working with watching coaches. And we had 6 coaches on staff. So I learned so much by just picking their brains and helping them with workouts and being in the gym and learning. You know, I try to learn so much, like as much as I could, and just working with post players, working with different people and different guys. You know, it's just a whole different level of skill level, and I learned that. So I'm hoping I will be bringing that back to our game, and then just the system, the offensive system, and the schemes that I learned defensively and offensively. It was, next level. That's all I can say. It's such next level knowledge. I just felt like I've always been a student of the game. I've always wanted to continue growing and learning. And so for me, I was doing that every day. And so I was just in my element. That's all I can say. I was in my element.
Now, did you feel any difference between, okay, now I'm going from coaching superstars that are women and superstars with men? Was there a mindset change for you where you was like, okay, I gotta, not be too happy or whatever? Or what was kind of your approach to it?
Yeah, it was hard just because, again, I've never been around that environment. So I just like to, my mindset was kind of just figuring out the lay of the land, I guess you could say. So getting to know personalities. The biggest thing for me is just getting to know people and for them also to know that I care, and just getting to know them, watching them work. It was just mostly just getting to understanding their personalities. And then I learned that by just, going through workouts, working out with them. And then when we started practicing, you get a good feel of everybody, and so that's how I kind of did it. I just felt like you got to build a relationship, and I try to build as many relationships as I could with everybody. And we were a close knit group. We are a close knit group, and they just decided that they're going to play. So I'm excited about that. But so they got, they're about to play in a couple weeks. But I felt like we had just an authentic bond, the whole group, the whole coaching staff, everybody in the Grizzlies organization, and the guys. And it's a credit to the character of the guys, because Ja, like, for him to be a superstar, he's one of the most humble stars I've ever been around. He is just an incredible young man. Like, he is super. He made me feel comfortable. He was the first person to hit me up after when I, got the job. He was like, "Welcome to the family." You know what I mean? Like, and for somebody, somebody so young and so full of talent, and so humble, it just showed me like what type of people I was going to be around.
No doubt. I mean, like we can tell, the resume just continued to build, and the relationships continue to amass. So I mean, you got NBA ties now, you got WNBA ties, you got college basketball ties. How easy in recruiting is it for you to go in with all this wealth of resume knowledge and experience? How easy is it for you in recruiting to be like, I mean, why not choose me?
I wish I could say that. I need to hire you. I was tweeting at you. I need to put you on staff because you are a great recruiter. I mean, there's so much talent out here. I have so much, so much good here in Notre Dame, and so many things that I feel like are beneficial for student athletes. I think we have an amazing program, facilities. There's so many things that are positive here in Notre Dame. So I just try to highlight those and try to identify the kids that I think that would be the right fit for me and my vision and in Notre Dame. So it's not easy. It's not easy. You still have to find the right balance of, students with the high character, students that believe in academics, because like you say, like it's very challenging here at Notre Dame as far as, academically. So just got to find the right fit. But I think everything is a challenge. So I try to,
I can't tell.
I want to continue. I want to always continue grind and still work. So that's my main focus.
Absolutely. And now it's like, okay, you're in such a good environment in the NBA, but now because you're such a good person and because you do everything right, it seems like you get the opportunity for Muffin McGraw, and it's like it's all in God's timing, right?
Absolutely.
And you get that chance to take that head coaching job. Were you nervous? I just want to know if he was nervous. We knew you was primed for the position, but did you know it was going to happen such a smooth transition?
No, I did not. It was shocking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just, when I found out and coach was really, decided to step away, I was shocked. And yeah, my nerves were going, like, I was emotional. I was excited, I was, nervous, what are the girls going to say? Like, you have all these thoughts in your mind, in your head, by recruiting, everything. You don't know. So the uncertainty of the pandemic, and then also the uncertainty of, how people would receive this information was kind of, was made me a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious. But then when the news hit, I mean, it was so much great positive feedback that I was like, okay, it is the right move. This is the right decision. And like you said, like, this is God's plan. So
you get a chance to talk to her at all? Did she call you and was like, hey, you up next? Or-
yeah, I mean, I came back here. So I was quarantined in Memphis, and then I came back, and then we kind of met at our practice facility. But she called me when she decided to retire. And so at the right in the beginning of April, she called me and told me, then I had a conversation with the athletic director. So yeah, everything was, pretty, it was crazy. It was a crazy time. I didn't realize how crazy it was going to be until I was in the moment. I was like, wow, I feel like you're in the moment. It's like, okay, things are not going to be the same. It was insane, but it was great. It was positive. Again, it was good vibes, good energy with everything that was going on. So it turned out, I think, probably the smoothest transition. Everyone keeps telling me, like, that was the smoothest transition ever. So I was appreciative of that.
I think everybody kind of knew it was just destined. Some things you're just destined for. And Coach Ivey, I mean, you couldn't spell it out any better. Now going through it though, now you go from player to assistant coach, now to head coach. How is your mental? Has anything changed in your mind on how you want to do things now, being the head coach as opposed to how you were coming through the ranks as a player and assistant coach?
Absolutely. I mean, I've always had a lot of different things, a lot of different ideas that I've always stored away and wanted to bring as a head coach. You know, I've been thinking as a head coach for the past couple years. You know, so I'll just things that resonate with me. I just talk in either my journal or tuck it away in the back of my head. Like, okay, I like that. I could see myself doing that. I can see myself running that play. Like I've been doing that for the past couple years, and so I have so much that I want to just bring here. You know, I've learned so much, like you just said, like even the NBA, I've learned so much, so many things that I want to bring. You know, hopefully it all translates as I step into this, as I'm in this role. But I have a lot of things I want to bring to this team. So I'm excited. Right now, I can't see them. I'm only doing virtual calls, so it's gonna be a minute before I can implement anything. But I'm just creating the plan for it right now. Like creating the blueprint for what I think I'm gonna bring.
Now, have you thought about like, okay, I was a player, and now I'm a head coach at the same place. Do you think of like, okay, I want to make it more player friendly, or do you battle with the being a player's coach or being kind of how the authoritarian coach is?
Yeah.
It's either you got to play one or the other. Do you battle with that at all?
I do, but I have a strong staff, a really strong staff, a lot of wisdom, a lot of guidance. So I'm gonna lean on them. I don't know how I'm gonna be, because people are like, "How are you?" Scholars like, "How are you gonna be on the sidelines? Are you gonna be, jumping up and down and all that kind of stuff?" I was like, "I don't know." So I got to figure out my on-court personality. But I mean, I feel like I've always been passionate. I used to always get on the girls as an assistant, so I think I'm probably gonna continue that energy. And it's different, like you said, when this is my alma mater, so it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like any other place, I'm always, I'm gonna be that same person. But when it's your alma mater, it's different. So and being the leader, I'm sure I'm gonna be really intense.
Now, does it run past your mind? Because from my knowledge, I don't know of any other African American or Black women head coaches at Notre Dame at the basketball program. But does that run through your mind as any additional thing that you think about, or is it more of getting the job done? Because Notre Dame is a place about results.
Exactly. No, I do think of it. I know that I know how powerful this position is for me. I know how powerful it is for young Black girls to see me in this role. You know what I'm saying? Like to be in this leadership role, to be the first African American. I felt that way at the Memphis Grizzlies. I was the first African American female assistant there. So wearing two hats, and I knew I was a trailblazer. I felt the magnitude of that in Memphis. I used to be at games, and people would come by me in the games while the game's going on, saying Black girls rock, girl, you go girl, or I'm something. And I realized the magnitude of how my presence, what that brought to young girls and everybody in the crowd. I used to get messages about it, and that was something that I took a lot of pride in. It's something that made me feel like it was like that strength of mine. Like I'm doing this this is bigger than me. You know what I mean? Like being here in Memphis, this is bigger than me. So I feel the same way here at Notre Dame. Like being the first African, I'll be the third African American coach, period. First female, you know what I mean? Like first female African American coach. I know the magnitude of that. And so, I mean, that's why another reason, I mean, I got a lot of people that are looking up to me, but I just feel I'm in this position of power, and I want to use it in a positive way. And I want to reach as many people as I can, many people as I can reach, and impact as many lives as I can impact. But it's something that I'm very proud of. And it's a cape that I'm gonna put on every day to make sure that I'm ready to take on this role.
Now, it's come at a great time because, due to the things that have come around the country with these riots, with the
Right.
protests, and with it being you got to pick a side. How have you seen your role involved being at a prestigious university that, it's not many of us there, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's really not. But being
Right.
a lead position, how have you seen your role as an effect to what's going on in the world as we live in it today?
Yeah, I mean, I felt an obligation to make my stance, and to just to let the world know, and my team really, to let them know how I felt, because I felt the heaviness of it, as everyone in America, especially every Black person in America, feeling the heaviness of what has been going on, the police brutality and racism in the past week, and protesting, and everything that's going on is heavy on our world. Our world is on fire right now, and so I felt that I felt an obligation to say what was on my heart. I have a young Black man, Jaden. You know, I have a young son that I fear I've always feared. I was always the worrier. I'm the worrier
Because you
parent.
got to play mom. You got to play
Everything
mom
that he
too.
did, exactly. So I had to wear both hats. I was always the worrier, and now the heightened in our society with you know, Black people being a threat, and especially Black men being a threat. My fear has always been you know, strong, and so it was something that I just felt that I needed to say on my heart when I, you know, said something. But this is not the time to be silent. This is time to use your voice. And I just felt like it was necessary for me to say something.
Now, with saying something, I know that you got a chance to talk to your team. You said you had a chance to discuss with your team about the current situation going on. What was the vibe, or what was their approach to kind of bringing that conversation up when you have a team that is more mixed than a lot of other places?
Yeah, I thought we had a great conversation, and I had Richard Pierce, our associate history professor, that came on, and Brianna Turner, who has been very vocal. I'm not sure if you follow her, but she was our former All-American post player. She has been amazing online. You know, she has a strong voice. She has been a voice of reason. She's shown super great leadership qualities the past couple of weeks, but she always has. She's always been in that role. She's passionate about to being, you know, socially aware and conscious of what's going on. And so I had them both on the Zoom call, and it was great. Like my team, they gave questions and observations of what was going on, and we had a great dialogue, great discussion, and I thought it was necessary, and I thought it was just really good. And again, like you're saying, like it's this maybe I just wanted my players just to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and know that there's a safe space to talk. And try to help them, you know, to get the things that they wanted to get off their chest, and they also have some experts that were on the Zoom call to help them navigate through those questions and observations. So I thought it went really well.
And as a Black woman, what do you see the importance of being a Black head coach? You know, because there's not a lot of times where us as players, myself included, where we don't have a chance to have a Black head coach.
Yeah.
But what's that impact for the players that look like you now that you're in a position of a head coach, in a leadership position, and the importance of being and having more Black head coaches in your position in the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I'm somebody that they can relate to, so especially because I was a player here. So them having a diverse staff, you know, being around people that look like them, like you said, like that's not something that is very common in a lot of places in athletics. And for it to be their head coach is huge. I think it's huge, and I feel like my experiences and the things that I've learned is going to help them. And also, I mean, just being a role model, being a woman of color for them, and just being in this power position, I think is going to help them. It's just, again, somebody that can relate to the girls because I've walked in their shoes, and just being a representation of, you know, Black women can be in leadership roles. Because for me, I'm the head coach of Notre Dame. You know, it's not something that they see often, and so it's important.
Is it hard for you not to play politics with it being now at a time where it's like people want to hear what you got to say? It's no more hiding behind or writing statements. As a person in your position, it's about actions. And what do you really want to see from sports now when things start coming back into shape after everything that's taking place? What do you want to see happen in sports to benefit people like us, people like you and me?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in this role, especially with what's going on, I want to see action, and I want to be the person that's helping our team, you know, be more active in the communities, be more active in using their voice, being more active in joining, you know, local organizations, the things that are going to help outside of just the time that we're in right now, talking about the things right now. And that's something that's important to me, is to see change and not just be a person of talking about it and a person of words, but more of a person of actions. And, you know, to allow our girls to also to be whatever they're passionate in, to take action in whatever that is, in order for, you know, like that's important. That was something that even as an assistant coach, you know, our team, they wore the I Can't Breathe shirts back in like 2016. We got a lot of backlash for that. They got a lot of backlash, and it was incredible to be a part of that as an assistant coach, because I watched them rally together. for a great cause. And it was impactful. And so I'm hoping that our girls could feel passionate about something. Right now, it's obviously to try to fight racism and justice in our world. And I'm hoping that they can always, find something they're passionate about and to try to invoke change in whatever that is that they want.
Absolutely, and I think you set the tone. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody, regardless of how they feel about it, you in a position where people are looking towards the future, and it is the future, being that you got this great opportunity in front of you, and the things that's led up to this point has been nothing but blessings, and it's been nothing but great things headed forward. But for you now, being that you're about to have your first season, what's kind of the thoughts going through your mind? Are you anxious? Do you feel like it's championship or bust? Or what are your expectations for your first season? Because everything you've done has literally been nothing but success.
Well, I appreciate that. What I want to do is just, to build culture. So I want to build habits. We had a rough year last year. I'm praying for a healthy season, but I just want them to learn how to learn how to build great habits and learn how to really win again. And that's just breaking down the fundamentals, building culture, setting the foundation of what I want in my era, as they call it, the Ivy era, what I want in this era. And that's just, player development, learning how to compete, learning how to get better every day. And so I'm just going to start off with that basic fundamental of just building culture, building habits. And then I'm hoping that foundation that I lay with the team, that could continue to grow, and hopefully success follows that.
Well, I know your players are bought in. I see the recruiting. I see that on the social media. Players have put all their focus on you. You're going to have to start denying kids eventually, because there's so many people that want to be a part of the Ivy era. And I do too. Look, you got something for me.
Hey, you are a part. You will be front row whenever you come back to South Bend. Trust, you will be there. I will make sure that you are taken care of. I will make sure you're taken care of.
Because those Notre Dame ushers, they tough now. They don't mess around.
You got that $1 million smile. They're not going to bother you.
Well, I appreciate that. I do want to switch over, though, to the mother hat. And I do want to talk about how you've had so much success with Jaden, and the amount of success he's accumulated himself, how you balance being such a super mom and a super coach.
Yeah, I mean, that he's my world. He is my why, my purpose. And so I would give him anything, like your mother. I know your mother's very special to you. But yeah, I'm just so proud of him. I've watched him grow. He has been around such, just being around me, being around the team. He's developed this incredible work ethic. I've watched him grow into this young man that's, humble, confident. It's been a blessing to see it. And now, his dream was to play in college, and I just dropped him off on Wednesday. Purdue is such an amazing feeling, just because as a mother, like you're saying, like I've had a lot of help. It has not been easy. I definitely make it look easy. The things I post.
You do.
You can make everything look easy online. I'm not posting the pictures of myself crying at night. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely been a sacrifice. It's been hard, but he has just been so he's adjusted, to our life. He's adjusted. He had made a great adjustment with me just being away coaching. I was on the road a lot. I've had a lot of help. My mom, she moved up to South Bend to help me out. It's taken a village. I feel like I've had a lot of love and support that's helped me, to live my dream of coaching, and to have to be able to work and to be a mother. So I've had opportunity with so much help, and a great boss when I was an assistant. So I'm super grateful for all the love and support that I've had. But that's the reason why I've gotten him to this point. Outside of a lot of prayers, him just being an awesome kid, but a lot of help that has allowed us both to be where we are right now.
I mean, it's a rarity, and it should be highlighted. It should be appreciated. The things that you've sacrificed and that you put in, not only to be a super mom, but the trailblazing superstar coaching player combination that you've been able to put together is second to none. And it needs to be talked about. So I'm glad that you get a chance to get it, even just to talk to me,
Thank you.
before they start charging me. Okay. Now, with Jaden being the superstar player that you've seen him develop to be, how hard is it? Because you don't hear this a lot. There's a lot about dads that coach.
Yeah.
But moms that coach, what's the influence like on your son's game? Do you tell him that he needs to work on his left hand better, or how does that work?
Well, he was really hard to coach when I was younger, or when he was younger. Like, he didn't want to listen to anything I said. And I'm like, Jaden, like, just like you just said, I'm like, I won a national championship. I had to throw that at him. Like,
Yeah,
I know
literally, like, you got the rings.
I'm like, I know what I'm talking about. Like, he just thought he knew it all. Like, I'm like, all right, I'll let somebody else go over here and tell you what I've been telling you, you know?
Right, like,
but I try to, yeah, like when he was younger, I tried to, you know, we definitely worked out a lot, and he was so competitive. He hated to lose, to the point where he lose something, he cry. He want to play me one-on-one. You don't want to play me one-on-one. Like,
yeah, because you go hard.
You're gonna get your feelings hurt. So don't even do that. And then when he started dunking, I'm like, okay, I cannot play him at all. Yeah, but he was so competitive when he was younger, and I tried to just kind of step back, because I've seen a lot of parents that have been so you know, so, well, the word is like just so intrusive with their workouts, and they just put so much pressure on their kids. And I wanted it to be fun for him. I wanted him to want to play. I didn't want to force him to play any sport. And so I kind of took a step back as a mother and coach, and I was like, hey, if you need me, I'm here. You know, I can get you in the gym and we can work out if you want to. But if not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just allowed him to reach out to me, and I just tried to put him in the right positions, you know, with right coaches and right teams that I felt like were going to help him grow. And so luckily, you know, I you know, he was on some really great teams with some great coaches that helped him get to where he is now. But I was always just there in the backgrounds. It's hard. It was hard for me to watch. It is hard for me to watch in the stands. I'm completely different as a mother in the stands. I can barely watch. It is hard being a mother in the stands. I don't know how my team's parents do it, but I always just try to I've taken a step back, you know, with him when he's playing. But it's been amazing to watch, and you know, the growth that he's had. Like you say, like, I think that he is going to be a star. I think he's got the work ethic. You know, I just pray that he stays healthy. He's in a great situation at Purdue. And so I'm super excited for him.
I've seen him. I mean, I've literally seen him since he was little, and he started growing his hair. Yeah. And I mean, it's
right. No, you supported him when he was in like sixth grade.
I've seen it.
You were his favorite player. He loved him some Malik. Remember, we would come watch you play, and you know, just he wanted to be around.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you get a few more questions in, because you've been blessing us with so much information, so many gems, so many good things going on. A couple last things. I do want to know what makes Niele Ivey so happy? What keeps you going?
Yeah, what makes me happy are the people around me. So like you said, Jaden, when he's happy, I'm happy. You know, my family, my friends, that makes me happy. Just being around good people, being around people that I love, that just makes me happy. Family makes me happy. And I would say just wanting to be better, always feeling like never feeling satisfied. I always feel like I just want to get better, wanting to always grow. And, you know, I had the opportunity last year to step out of my comfort zone. And that really helped me, just seeing life from a different perspective, seeing the game from a different perspective, living in a different city. So just always trying to grow and trying to get better. That's what gets me going, keeps me going. And then again, always feeling like I want to support Jaden. Always, you know, he's my motivation at the end of the day. He's always somebody that has, everything that I do is for him. So he always keeps me motivated.
No doubt. I mean, you got a lot of good people around you, and your son, I mean, he's doing so well. I know that's very motivating. And to now, I mean, you're chasing championships at this point, being a head coach. But what do you want to tell the fan base before we dive into the Ivey era? What is your welcome message to the fan base that's following the Notre Dame women's basketball team so heavily?
Yeah, I mean, I want them to know I'm just so excited to be back. I'm so excited to be a part of this family again. I feel like we have the best fans in the country. So I'm excited to pour out into this community, to pour out into this Notre Dame family, and get after it. I want them to know that I'm going to give them 100,000% of my love and 100,000% of just everything I have for this program.
Hey, I believe it. We talked about this from the very beginnings, the seedlings, and now it's turned into the dreams manifested. You can't ask for much more, and you've been nothing but a blessing to not only the Notre Dame community, but everybody that you touched. Now, in this interview or this podcast that we always do, On the Other Hand podcast, we do it the best because we do it uncommon. Things for you that you would suggest somebody else to try to step out their comfort zone.
Yeah, I mean, like for coaching wise, I would say just, maybe get out and try to learn something new. I always feel like you have to learn, you have to be comfortable in order to try to grow and to learn something new. So whatever that is, I used to always try to go watch different practices, like go talk to somebody, write somebody that you look up to an email and ask them what they did to get into to be successful. So like step out of your comfort zone and reach out, develop a network, continue to grow, and challenge yourself in different ways. So that means like you're a great recruiter. Okay, so try to do something else, like learn more X's and O's, or vice versa. If you're not great at relationships, learn how to be a great recruiter. Like there's so many areas in this game, in this profession for me, that you can learn. So like step out of your comfort zone and learn something new. Reach out, try to find help, try to grow in some area, fashion, form, try to get better every year, challenge yourself to get better every year.
No doubt. Hey, I'm telling you guys, y'all listening to the podcast, y'all getting once in a lifetime information and jewels dropped by none other than one of the greatest coaches I've been around. Not only that, I'm telling you, the inspiration, your General Electric, everything you touch is powered on, empowered.
I'm going to have to get that on
power.
a t-shirt. I like the way that sounds. I might need that on a t-shirt.
I'm your campaign manager. I don't know if you know that, but I am your campaign manager.
I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you for coming on the podcast. Like I said, On the Other Hand podcast, we talk about the uncommon, and Coach Ivey, you are nothing but the uncommon, and you're doing it at the highest levels, and you continue to do it, and we appreciate you at the podcast for coming by.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Stay safe.
No doubt. Listen, we're gonna be front row seats. It's that type of time. We're right there.
Okay.
But on top of all of that, we wish you the best of luck on your first season. It's in a tumultuous time like we talked about, but if anybody can handle it, you're the person to do it. And I'm glad that you're in the position finally. Not that we was begging for it, but hey, things happen how they happen, and it happens for the right people, and you are the person that it should happen for.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Once again, thank you so much, Coach Ivey. And we out on the Other Hand podcast.
All right.
The best, baby.
Look, on the other hand, we feeling like the best. Notre Dame, Florida, CBS. No one can check us because we always playing chess. If you always think you're right today, we're gonna take you left.